So we started off basically out of one flat in Powai, which was a very, very small scale at which we started operating with 30 lakh rupees of capital. And within 1 month, looking at the demand, basically the 30 lakh rupees was, completely deployed. I'm talking of November 2014, which is like 2.5 years back. So the next logical step was to go to the vendors and, ask the vendors to, give us some sort of credit or work around a model where we could share profit with the vendors themselves, considering that we were making a good yield on these assets. So vendors themselves not really, wanting to take any sort of credit call or not understanding this whole finance and also having their own back-to-back commitments, essentially could not really offer us any credit, and we had to provide them cash on day one. So we hit our first roadblock out there in November 2014. And then, as we started pitching one-to-one to a couple of investors, we slowly scaled this investment model across, to 80 HNIs as we have them today right now. And in fact, even institutions, such as Tata Capital, Shrey, and even, the likes of large wealth management firms are actually looking at, distributing our products simply because of the kind of IRR that we are able to offer investors, which is in the range of about 20 to 30% post-tax, which I think is a very, very, lucrative return for any investor to have across for a 3-year period. Why we have an investment proposition for 3 years essentially is because we have a minimum estimate of the life of these assets to be 3 years. While we've not completed a full 3-year cycle, we've completed 2.5 years now, and we have got some sort of metrics in place. We know exactly how our business is flowing right now. So given that, I think 3 years is a very, very minimum estimate, and in fact, going forward, we might actually, be able to say that, no, these assets are actually worth much more, maybe 4 years, 5 years, as we go forward. But 3 years is what we decided to have as an investment time period. And typically for an end tenant, we started off, renting from 3 months to, gradually 6, 9, and now we've even started long rentals for 24 months, simply because renting is cheaper than EMI, and we are able to eliminate, the margins that vendors and retailers are making on furniture and appliances, and actually able to offer something to the tenants at sourcing cost. And this essentially is something that we are trying to pass on not only across furniture and appliances, but across other categories, starting with two-wheelers and, gradually venturing into four-wheelers and, a couple of any other asset class categories that we can basically look at. And, this is essentially what our value proposition lies. So basically, we have warehouses in every location that we operate. We have a complete fleet on street. We don't do a lot of marketing. In fact, this is one of the only events where we actually decided to take a call, and this is more to reach out to investors. But our marketing activity is purely online. And we also use more of an effective solution where we target brokers, because brokers are the people who today in India, ultimately renting is totally dependent on brokers. And we are happy to share some margin with the brokers rather than advertising across media and maybe not get the kind of footfalls that we expect. And this cycle has been working pretty well for us overall now. Where we see ourselves going forward. So to be honest, we are not seeing any drop in deployment levels. We are at 96%. Since we operate in a B2C model, we are actually seeing a growth of about 20 to 25% month on month in our top line. We have about 40 crore asset under management right now. We're doing about over 3.5 crores of revenue every month. And going forward now, we are even looking at launching a couple of more cities. We are launching across a couple of more categories, and gradually this whole HNI class that we have already, that we've onboarded on our own, now is more of a productized solutions, because we worked out some efficiencies around taxation which was not there in the earlier model. And also, given institutions that have come on board with us, I think we are looking at a target and probably in the next financial of about 150 crore asset under management.